Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. It's all over. Me, 22M, and K20F were in a relationship for 2,5 years. Until 2 weeks ago, everything was perfect. We moved to a new city together, living separately, laughed, had a deep connection and great sex life. We told each other how much we loved each other every day, and it seemed like our love only grew and grew. I thought this was the person I would spend my life with, and she always told me I was the one for her. Just 5 weeks ago she met some new friends, which were also some guys. I was fine with this because I also have friends that are women. I started noticing that she was hanging out more often with this one guy, and I could feel her pushing away from me. When I addressed these feelings, she said that it was all in my head, up to the point where I felt like I was losing my sanity. A couple of days later she finally told me that she was in love with him and vice versa. When she told me, I was only relieved, because I knew I wasn't crazy. We spoke about it and she told me I was the one for her and she would break her friendship with him. This was perfect for me. The weeks went on with her secretly hanging out with him and her telling me the next day crying that I was the only one for her because I found out and confronted her. I kept trusting her and believing in us. I felt like our relationship was strong enough to get through this. Until yesterday, when I called her because I felt something was wrong. She told me she had been with him for the weekend and that she wants to break up with me. The same night I could see that she had all kinds of sex playlists on. We share Spotify. These have been the worst weeks of my life. I have never been so connected to a person in my entire life. We have built up such an emotional connection with each other and she just throws me away like it was nothing. I'm just so confused. My mind is just broken right now. Does anyone know how to get over betrayal like this? Take the breakup and move on. You cannot be with someone who has led you on only to keep you as the option. Break up and go full no contact. Block her everywhere. Give yourself a month, then start making new plans for your life that do not include a cheater. Thanks, brother. Since I know they had sex yesterday, I feel no need to ever come back to her. I just feel so lost. One of the only people I truly trusted betrays me like this and doesn't even feel bad. Listen to Ween. Take Me Away and Baby Bitch are good songs to start with. Ween knows. Post in r/surviving infidelity or r/infidelity for help. It started as an emotional affair and moved to physical. Cut all contact with her. Block her on all social media. It's not to punish her but help you heal. Thank you, less than 3. It hurts, it sucks, but it's part of life. You will find that someone out there and find happiness that will make this not even count. Believe in yourself and stay confident. She did not love you as much as you loved her. In the end she will look back and think I screwed up a good thing. While you have a loving family. Thank you for the support, less than 3. You're still young, and this is part of the dating culture. Just scratch her eyes out in all of your photos and block her. Take comfort in knowing that she'll probably do the same thing to the new guy. Move on, rediscover your passions. Nothing gets under an ex's skin worse than when you end up happier than when you were together. In a decade or two you'll probably have a hard time remembering her name. How do you move to a new city together, living separately? I have never heard of this. Is this a thing? What made you two not move in together, if you two were already dating and all of that stuff? But I can say this, you will get over this, you will become a stronger person because of this. In her case, she is 20 years old. If you dated for 2.5 years, you started dating her while she was still in high school, and I am going to assume the best and say you were either her first or close to her first sexual partner. She has not experienced much and therefore doesn't know much, especially in regards to relationships. This is not an excuse for her actions or a justification for her to do it, but it means that with the way the world is now, I mean you probably live in Europe somewhere, basically only because you used 2,5 years and not 2.5 years, and you're able to reach out to anyone in the world. I live in the eastern US, it means that we, as a people, have access to people we never had access to, even 30 years ago. But this is the world we live in. You can rebuild from this, but you need to go full no contact. You don't have a family, or anything that binds you to, so even though North Carolina will hurt at first, it is the least painful options. You also need to remove any social media pictures of you two, and block this person, as well as people who are aligned with this girl, not woman. You also need to get back to something you enjoy. If you don't have something that you enjoy, pick up a hobby. Go to the gym, make yourself get out of the house. Do not drink to excess. I would say avoid drinking entirely for now, only bad things can come from drinking and feeling this way. Do not date anyone, rebounds are a real thing, and don't hurt someone else unintentionally simply because you're hurting. If you need to talk to someone and vent, you can message me or probably just about anyone else on here. We all came here for a reason. And we all stayed here to RTF. We lived separately because we were both going to a new university. And to have some freedom, it's quite normal in my social circle to live separately in the first few years. I find it hard to not drink TBH, I'm on my way to the bar right now actually. Thank you so much for the support. So many questions and still so confused. Advice. 8 days ago I posted about my story with infidelity. Still all day long all I can think about is what just happened. I just can't get my head around it. My friends tell me she is posting pictures and videos of her and her new guy on social media. How can someone just move on so quickly? 4 weeks ago she wanted to move in with me. And only 2 weeks ago she told me I was the love of her life. The last 2 times I spoke to her, on the phone, she just sounded so cold to me. I know they have been smoking a lot of weed together, so maybe that numbs her feelings as well. But how can someone I've been through so much with just leave like it's nothing? I still love her and I wish that would go away. I just need some closure. All these questions in my head are driving me insane and I can't focus on anything. Should I meet up with her to talk and get this closure, or just leave her alone and wait till it gets better? The thing is, she is way ahead of you. She didn't move on when you broke up, she already moved on way earlier when she began cheating on you. It sucks, but that is how it is. She disconnected her feelings from you and gave them to someone else already some time ago. What is new and fresh for you is how she feels already for some time. I am sorry that you have to experience this. Closure is not something you will ever get from her, closure is something you find within yourself, but that takes time. Meeting up with her, talking to her or seeing her only throws you back further and is taking care that you need more time to find this closure in yourself. When you realize and understand one day that she just wasn't interested in being with you, that her words spoke a completely different language from her actions, then you will begin to get closure, and more importantly, you will learn. Cut her out of your life, block her in every possible way, and ask your friends to not update you about what she does. Having as little contact with her as possible is the only way to really begin the process of leaving her behind and then moving on. Good luck and stay strong. That might be true. Do you recommend leaving the city? I go to the same school as them, same gym, etc. I can't completely cut her out of my life, you know. Only if I leave the city, I guess. Thanks for your advice. That is really up to you and the type of person you are. If I were in your shoes, then I wouldn't leave the city because of them. Would feel like running away for me. Seeing them in school or at the gym will be tough in the beginning, but can be done, and in addition, you could also sign up at a different gym if there is another available. Instead of running away, I would rather put up a act in the beginning. When you leave your apartment, then hold your chin up, straighten your back out and put your chest out. Walk around like you own the street you are walking on. When you see them, then ignore them or allow yourself to be a little petty if that helps you. For example, when they should say something, you reply something like, "Have fun with my leftovers," to the guy. If you don't want to be petty, then just ignore them. It doesn't matter too much if you only act like this or if you can truly be like that. What matters is that even though you are hurting right now, you need to learn that they haven't broken you. You still have a future ahead of you, still have a ton of opportunities coming up for you. Your life is far from over. But that is just how I would act or did act, because that is the type of person I am. You are different and need to do what is best for you. If you want to leave the city, then do that, but try to look for other reasons to leave the city. Maybe because you have friends or family somewhere else. Or because a different city is more appealing to you. But not to run away from them. Don't make any decisions because of them. Make every decision because it is a decision you want to make for yourself. It does feel like running away. The thing is, I've got a lot bigger social network in my hometown. I went to the city because it was a joint decision. But for my character development, I feel like it is best to stay and face the pain. Thank you for taking the time to support me. I really appreciate it. Keep one thing in your mind on your way forward. The decision you make today does not have to remain the same in the future. If you decide to stay for now and find out in 6 months that this just isn't working out for you, then you can still move to another city. There is no decision that guarantees you that you will reach your closure faster. All you can do is try out different things and then look if they feel good for you. If they do, great, go on. If they don't, then check what you can change and act accordingly. You can do this. You are stronger than you think you are. I wish you all the best. You're right. It's going to be hell to see them, but at least I can try. You are a great guy, thank you so much. Weed has nothing to do with it, this is an affair fog. The chemistry that normally works when you fall in love is turned to 110% during an affair due to secrecy and breaking taboo. This not only creates the illusion that an affair is the best thing ever and AP is one true love, but it can also change the cheater's behavior, their values and even personality. In the majority of cases the bubble bursts after a few months, but some people change permanently. In other words, she is chasing that high and it dominates her feelings. It simply overwhelms any feeling of loss and mourning. It's much easier to stick to positive emotions and someone new. And that high is very tempting. Some people chase it their whole life thinking it's the true love, which is not true. I know it sucks and feels so unfair. Why do I get to suffer while she enjoys her new relationship, right? The reality is that these kinds of relationships have a very low chance of working long term, and at some point she will end up in a worse spot than before the affair started. I'm going through a very similar thing. You can read my post on this sub, that happened almost a month ago. It's the most confusing and painful thing ever, and the only good advice I can give is that you shouldn't try to find answers, because you most likely won't find any. Definitely don't meet with her, don't ask for closure or answers. She won't give you what you want, especially this early when she's still in the fog. You are right. Your theory makes a lot of sense. I'll never understand cheaters too. How can someone choose their rush over someone's feelings? She changed so much. She dresses differently, talks differently and acts differently. Last 6 weeks it's like I didn't even recognize her anymore. I also think I won't find closure when talking to her. I'll probably only hurt myself more. Your advice means a lot to me, thank you. Smile and good luck with your recovery. Less than 3. When people cheat they always choose what's best for them at the time. There is always the element of utter selfishness to infidelity. In many ways it's like an addiction. Addicts hurt their closest ones too, they know it. In most cases they don't want to do it, but they can't help themselves. It's also incredibly hard to come face to face with your actions. People don't like viewing themselves as bad. We rationalize a lot of our actions even if we feel deep down they're not okay. I totally get the part of not recognizing that person. It's so confusing, the cold-heartedness, distance, cruelty. Here is a good article if you want to read more about it. It is driving me mad. The article really sums it up well, thank you. If she now acts totally different, it's because she's a chameleon. His hobbies suddenly become hers. She's playing up the ideal type she thinks he wants. You know why? Because she's fake as duck and doesn't know no true inner peace. She's not complete without someone else, and now she's made up a whole new identity. It won't last long for him either, because she'll always be searching. Consider the past person you knew a fraud. It was all a disguise and her actions never really mirrored her talk. And if you see them, I recommend not making snide remarks. Just be indifferent, or you'll just let it be known that you're still hurt over it. Nah, don't give them that satisfaction. Brush that dirt off your shoulder. Yes, she is. I met the guy and she copies everything he does. Looking back on it, she did the same to me. Thank you for your support. I had a crazy ass GF who did this for me. Not gonna lie, it helped me get a lot out of my system. Seeing what it was like to have a hot chick mirror my interests, over-admire me, and indulge all my fantasies was fun, but only in a cheap way that felt like just another way to avoid any challenge or anything real in my life in favor of comfort. Well, I'd say you dodged a huge bullet even if you did nothing for it to happen. That's a good start on the way to move on from this relationship. Now you must start to think about you. What do you want for you? Good luck. The thing is, I don't know what I want anymore. I might need to seek some therapy and keep my life simple for a while. Karma really did its job. Update, see previous posts to see what happened. I still don't have contact with her, but I've seen her a couple of times, and yesterday my family updated me on her. Her life has collapsed. She doesn't have contact with AP, she is severely depressed, quit school. Also, she doesn't really have a home. She comes from a broken family and doesn't want to return, but also she doesn't really have a support network in our new city. She supposedly has even been subscribed to antipsychotic medication. Basically, she has hit rock bottom. I see a lot of posts on here of people here waiting for karma doing its work. Seems like eventually it will. Even though it helps that you won't be the only one hurting from the situation. Knowing that your ex is in pain won't give you any satisfaction. I really hope she'll be alright. Yeah. Once the introductory try-it-free period ends, then the other douche pool bails. Yeah, but the BS would be wise to understand that the same holds true with the WS as well. There is nothing to say that the WS was any more honest or committed to the AP than the person they cheated on. Hell, some WS even use an AP to transition out of their marriage and then dump them once the transition is complete. This all sounds nice, and some will embrace this and feel good reading your story. Just something to think about. All you've really established is she had a great deal of dependency on you. Ask yourself, if she stayed faithful only because she was dependent on you, would that be a good thing? Would you be delaying the inevitable? Or if she stayed faithful and left, and then you took her back, would that be a good thing? Honestly, and I know this is painful and twisted, she may have done you a favor cheating. Gave you the clear picture that allowed you to jettison her from your life. Longer term, you'll be way better off. Just a different perspective. Yes, I really believed somehow this was meant to happen to show me she isn't the one for me. Like I wrote above, good relationships don't require you to be your spouse's entire support system. That is actually a red flag in and of itself. A friend told me that not everyone who is in your life right now is meant to be in your life forever. That really hit home for me. This is such an important post. The type of person who bends over backwards and becomes their partner's emotional white knight is like a giant light for the moth to someone looking to take advantage. Healthy relationships don't work like what has been described. Better to find a well-rounded person who has a strong support system and good character. This creates balance and a healthy amount of boundaries. It also takes away the immense emotional drain that some of these relationships become. I also think the white knight type person never really stops to think that maybe the person they are saving is in this situation because of how they are. In hindsight, if you really think about it, it's easy to understand that there is a good possibility the cheater doesn't have a support system because they have burned many bridges just like they did their romantic partner. It's their MO. Having no support system in itself should require some serious investigation in the beginning because sometimes it can be a very big red flag. What you read in a small post isn't an objective view of a person. She isn't, or at least wasn't, some helpless girl without a social network. Take in account she went to a new city during COVID. I would never date some helpless girl and try to save her. But it is indeed a red flag. My post was meant more as a generality, not specific to this one situation. I'm not arguing against anything you've said, just addressing one specific point. Sometimes it's the BS who doesn't have a strong support network, and it isn't always their fault. I only have my father as far as family goes on my side, because everyone else has basically died over the years. My father lives several states away. I live where I do because I moved closer to my support network, all of which have passed away at this point, and I'm only 30. I have a decent amount of friends here, but most of them come from my STBXW's social circle, since I met her before pretty much anyone else here. I have one friend from before those days, and well, unfortunately he outright told my wife he wanted her more than he wanted his own wife, and she told him that she wanted him too, physically. Supposedly nothing happened, but, you know, hard to ever know. So that one person I had out here before then, not really a candidate for support anymore. And unfortunately, my STBXW was also extremely demanding of my time and presence with her, so I was woefully underprepared to deal with finding out everything that has happened, or what she was open to happening. So now I'm trying to build a local support network, make new friends, find new hobbies. Very difficult when you're extremely depressed. Not many people want to be around people who apparently have dead eyes all the time. How about you? Are you still in the same city? How are you doing? Were you able to build up a social network? Has she ever tried to get in contact with you again? Why is your family updated about how she is? I am doing better. I still live in the same city and have expanded my social network. It still bothers me every day, but I just kind of learned to live with it. It helps that I have people around me who want to know how I feel. Around 3 weeks after it happened, she contacted me, apologizing and making promises. She sent some letters and we've spoken in person a couple of times. But it really confused me and set me back in my healing process, so I asked her to stop contacting me, and she has respected this wish ever since. We haven't had contact for about 7 weeks now, I think. My parents informed me without consent, but it doesn't really matter. Thank you for asking. Why do your parents know how she is doing? Because she keeps contacting my family members. Are your family members okay with that? What do they say about what she did? Yes, they saw her as family and they still care for her. They asked me for permission to answer her texts. And I gave them the permission to keep contact with her. This is going to set you back. I'm in the same spot and similar timeline. WW keeps contacting friends and family members. More than she ever did, and friends she barely ever contacted are now frequently texted. The problem is word gets back to you and you get intrusive thoughts, feel bad about yourself and feel like she's maybe disingenuous and you're telling her part of the story. I think you're best to cut it off completely or tell everyone not to mention a word of it to you. As long as they won't keep me updated, it won't bother me much. But thank you for the advice. Nice. Although I don't usually encourage waiting for karma. It may or may not come, and if you wait around yet it never comes. Things can get dark. That being said, I do believe upwards of 80% of cheaters will face karma at some point. Humans in general are social animals. Doing what the majority considers immoral won't help you. Whether that is struggling with guilt or being ostracized. Those that tend to make bad choices will continue to do so, especially if they believe it wasn't a bad choice or there were no repercussions for doing so. I personally found it easier just to cut her entirely out of my life, which I guess was easier since we were never married. neither of us using social media and me leaving for a grad program on the other side of the country helped too. I haven't heard absolutely anything about her since the day we split up. I won't lie and say I didn't hope for her to face karma in the first year or so, but wondering about that just kept me engaged in thinking about her. Eventually I realized it was better to just distract myself whenever I found myself thinking in that direction. Now, I genuinely wouldn't care if she was homeless or a millionaire, whether she has a happy family or is in prison. It just simply isn't my problem. The cracks are starting to show for my ex-W. She's making bad financial decisions, has basically become financially dependent on a man who cheated on his own wife to be with her, and when he gets tired of paying all her bills or some younger, prettier thing comes along, he'll probably have that wake-up call. Karma. The girl that ripped my heart out and damaged me for years to come by sleeping with a friend and co-workers, causing me to lose my job, dignity and about everything else I had, got a big dose of karma, more than ever should be given out. When I think karma, I'm going for AP cheats on her, she realizes she messed up, is hurting as much as I did and is genuinely remorseful and is on the straight and narrow the rest of her life. Blah, blah, blah. My case, she marries the AP, then cheats on him, gets knocked up by another dude, and I didn't hear anything after that for years. The next I hear about her, she is dead. Cancer ate her away to nothing, leaving her daughter to fend for herself. I was mad at this woman forever, still am a little bit. But I didn't want her dead. As mad as I'm at her, she still gave me a couple of the best years of my life. I don't miss her. Never wanted to see her again, but karma in this case was just too much. Maybe I just have too much compassion for people. Anyway, be careful what you wish for. You have nice guy syndrome. It wasn't too much what she did to you, so saying it is too much is bad form in my opinion. Yes. Over the holidays I have received several messages and phone calls from the men I have helped over the last few years. One, in particular, stands out in my mind. His wife dumped him for another sailor. They got divorced last year, 2020. Yep, that AP dumped her. It seems like once the affair fog lifted he was no longer interested. No kids, but she has contacted him many times now asking for another chance. What I heard was he was not going to even make a reply. Stop checking on her or you'll want to do the man thing and rescue her. Which will put you right back where you were. Move on. Oh well. The best revenge is to live your best life. Hope you're doing well. Onward and upward. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.